you go. And joining me in the studio for I Survived this morning is Reverend Henry Pani August. He's a pastoral counselor at Emmaus Counseling Center. And I'm looking at his card and I love what it says: connecting hurting hearts to God, to his word, and his people. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Reverend.
It's my pleasure.
So we do I Survived. We have this segment of I Survived because we realized in our interactions with a lot of people that sometimes, everybody has problems. Everybody goes through life-changing experiences. But you find that sometimes people get stuck in these experiences, and these experiences define who they are moving forward. And so we love when we hear stories like yours, which you're about to share with us, about how an experience which otherwise could have defined you in a negative way and sent you on a completely different pathway actually can become the thing that propels you towards destiny. And so we're really grateful that you're here to share your story with us.
I'm entirely delighted to be here.
Okay, Reverend. So tell me, I keep on talking about this moment, this life-changing moment, but what was life like before this moment, or before this thing happened?
Well, at that point in my life, I thought I had become upwardly mobile. I was looking ahead to life of fruitfulness, of results, positive results, because I was a manager in a bank, and life was going well. I had a poultry farm. I had 3 cars. One was running for the farm, 2 were in the house, stuff like that. So, but being a manager also involved making decisions. Unfortunately, I made one of those bad decisions which can make your life grind to a halt. And that was the situation. I made a decision, and the bank decided to dismiss me. If you are dismissed from a bank, it means that you lose all entitlements, and no other working place can accept you.
Right. What were the events that led up to this dismissal?
Well, at that point, the bank I was working with transferred me to another bank. And when I got to the branch, I thought that things were not in a good shape. They had not been sending their returns and stuff like that. So I engaged some people and we worked hard, and for about 6 months we were able to bring normalcy to the branch. By the following year, we had started making profits. Whether that got into my head, I don't like blaming. Whether that got into my head or whatever, I thought I had become champion. I was dreaming of promotions and things like that which will enhance my life, family life, and everything like that. So when the dismissal came, it was a great shock for me because I had never been punished before. I had never, all my life, it has been smooth running. All of a sudden, I had to deal with something which hadn't hit me like that before.
Right. In the moment where you made that decision to take this course of action that led to your dismissal, is it that you felt invincible? Were you unaware that what you were doing was wrong and could lead to your dismissal? What was going on in your mind at that time?
Of course, I knew that what I was doing was wrong. You don't give a loan without approval from the head office. And that was the kind of decision I was taking. But at that point, my philosophy was, you don't give an umbrella to a customer when the rain has stopped. That means that the time of the giving of a loan must be appropriate. It must be
Relevant.
time relevant.
Yes.
So the guy needed help, and I thought, oh, why don't you bend the rule? Not break the rule, but bend the rule so that within a short time the person can bring their money back, and then everything is okay. But that was against my own principles in life. What you can't continue, don't start. And I knew that that was something I couldn't continue with, yet I started it.
Right.
And then life came to a grinding halt.
So you made this decision. You gave out an unapproved loan, and a few months later, through the process of auditing,
Yeah.
you were found out.
Yeah.
In the moment when you were confronted with what you had done, what was going through your mind?
Well, I had regretted the decision I had made.
Did you regret it when you were found out, or did you regret it before you were found out?
Oh, I regretted. It's not because I had been found out. I regretted because, I mean, my children had just completed JSS or something, and things like that. So, I mean, I was afraid that if anything happened, family life was going to be massively affected.
Yeah.
In fact, my prayer at that point was that, Lord, help me to get out of this mess. So I had made my confessions to God about the mess I had put myself in. More importantly, I had put my family in that kind of situation.
Right. So in the moment when you were confronted with what you had done, and this dismissal was then presented to you, how did you feel?
Well, it was not just this dismissal. They had to go back and they put us on interdiction, and then they went back and investigated. But at that point, I thought I was alone. But it was at the they were called for further investigation at the head office. At that point, when I got there, then I realized that it was not just me and my family, but there were other staff members who also had been involved because they saw their handwritings or the loan forms or those things. All of them were found out.
Wow.
So that one hit me even more, that
your decision had become yes.
Not just me,
yes,
but involve other persons who shouldn't. So when we got to the head office for the investigations and then the confrontation, I just asked all the other staff members. I met them only at that investigative meeting. So I said, let's hold hands and let's pray. So I held their hands and we prayed. Then I said, look, when we go and they ask any question, just tell them that manager asked us to do it. Don't say that you did it on your own. Just say that manager asked us to do it. I was taking the whole blame myself so that I'll save their jobs. So their jobs was saved, but I lost mine.
Wow. In the moment when you held hands to pray, knowing that you had done something wrong, and yet still coming to a God who is loving and forgiving, how did you feel? Because when we speak to people who've gone through things, the condemnation that they feel in the act that they have done a lot of times prevents them then from going to God, and yet it seemed like that was your go-to.
Yeah, I believe that even though something wrong had happened, I had a God who was almighty. He could still get something which will help me out. In fact, in a mess, I was thinking that it will not be a dismissal, or I was praying it will not be a dismissal, maybe a reduction in rank or some other lesser punishment. But as for punishment, I knew it would come.
Right. Okay. So when the verdict was handed to you, when you were dismissed, what then? How did you feel at that point?
I got angry with God.
Hmm.
I said, because I was then helping in my church a lot. I had a poultry farm, so I was having a lot of money. So I thought, because I was helping in the church, naively, I was helping in the church, God could find a way to help me out. When it didn't happen, I got angry with God. I said, look at what I've done in the church. Why didn't you help me? So I got angry with God for a while.
And what did God say when you were ranting and raving at him about your indignation at his not swooping in swiftly to save
In the
situation?
storm, do you hear God? At that point in your life, you don't hear God. You are only feeling your own pain, selfishness. You're feeling your own pain. You are feeling angry with the world. So if God spoke at all, I don't think I heard.
Mm.
And I'm sure God spoke. But at that point, I needed to find my peace with myself and how to relate to my wife, my children, and all that kind of thing. So it was not a time when maybe even God was speaking, and God was probably speaking.
Yes, he always
Or
does.
God had a better plan for me. It was not necessarily
Abandoning
banking.
you. Yeah.
But I was too angry to listen to anybody.
Mm.
I am myself an introvert. So I'm a quiet person. I like to be by myself. I find my strength inside myself. So I went into my cave, trying to find things out. What can I do? What should I do? So that's what mostly happened. And the investigation took about 1 year before they gave me my dismissal letter. So in that 1 year, my solace was more with my Bible. I probably read the Bible cover to cover.
Right. So in that 1 year, your solace was in the Bible and you and God were fine.
Yeah.
Until the verdict came after the 1 year, and then you got angry.
Yes, then I got angry.
Then you got angry. I'm laughing because it's interesting how we make decisions and they don't work out for us, and then we get angry at God.
Yes.
It's such a go-to for most of us who are Christians. So at this point, you've been dismissed. You're angry at God. How did that impact your family?
I have a wife who I always say that she's she's stronger in faith than I am. So she stood firm. She was always there. And she kept saying, it will be all right. It will be all right. As a man, mine is reasoning things out. I didn't see how I could agree with her, but she kept on saying that it will be all right. When I was intervening 1 year when I was angry, we had just moved from Swedru to Adenta. And I like reading. So anytime my wife finished using her Frytol bottles, I hid the empty container somewhere because I like always to go and buy my newspapers and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I was hiding, and then there was this guy who was always passing our area, Koliba. In the Ghana we call them Koliba. Buying empty bottles and this thing. Yeah. So I collected the empties, and then whenever he came, I'll sell the empties to him, and I'll be buying my papers. So that's how I was keeping abreast with events in the world, events around my area, and stuff like that. Then one of those days, I bought the paper. There was this advert at the back of the paper, said Trinity Theological Seminary is going to run a modular program. Modular program meant that I'll have to be less expensive.
Right.
You go in the daytime, and then we were going in the evenings, 4 to about 7. 4 to
Okay.
about 7. I said, "Oh," I told my wife, could I try it? I wanted to mend my life. I was not so much thinking about being a pastor. I was thinking about the Bible helping me to mend my life, how to make better decisions for the future and stuff like that. Then I showed it to my pastor, and he said, "Oh, okay, it's not a bad idea." I said, "I didn't have money." So he gave me money to go and buy even the forms. I went and bought the forms. It was 2 days to closing of the modular program. He gave me money to take the photographs, passport photographs. He gave me money to do it quickly in 1 day and send it to Trinity.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, I probably was the last person to submit my application. About 4 o'clock the next day, I met the deadline. A week later, they call for the interview. God being so good, I was called to be part of the first modular program by Trinity Theological Seminary.
Wow. At that point, you said you didn't have any money. What had happened to the poultry farm?
That was another story altogether. I put some people on the farm because I was an absentee farmer, because I was bank manager.
Banking, yeah.
And these people were on the farm. They sold the eggs. When I gave them food for the birds, they just sold to the village people for their banku and kinky and stuff like that. So the farm had gone down.
Mm.
The farm had gone into a mess. At that point, I was also transferred to Accra. The farm was in Winneba area.
Okay.
So salvation was not there. Everything, what I'm saying is that life started going down.
Right. At this point, did you have children?
Oh, yes.
Yes. They had finished SSS or JSS.
JSS.
What did you tell them? How did you explain the fact that you were at home to them?
I probably relied on my wife to do the talking. The last born was virtually a baby, so she didn't know what was going on. But the 2 boys who were my first 2 children, I probably relied on my wife to do the talking. I couldn't face myself.
Yes, I can imagine. Even to then face your children.
To even go
explain to
and
them.
look at people. When I was active, I'll go to their school to visit, and when another child, I was went, and then the second child was crying. I said, "What is wrong?" He said, "Oh, they've asked my best friend to go home for fees." I said, "Dad, I pay for him." I was a god to them.
Mm.
So how can you tell them that, look, there's no more work? You are thinking of how you let yourself down and let the children down and let the family down.
Yeah.
That's what you are worried about. How to quickly make amends so that your image as a father, as a caregiver, is no longer like it used to be.
Right. And your image in your wife's eyes, did that change at any point?
That's the good thing about having a wife who is also very religious. The relationship didn't change. She stood by me. In fact, the good thing about our station was that when I decided to go to Trinity, she said she will pay my fees, pay the fees for the children. And
Wow.
and she kept doing that until I reached the master's level. Then I decided that, look, she couldn't be paying my fees at Trinity and still be able to fund the children's school fees. So at the point when it was at the master's level, I decided to put the Trinity master's program on hold. I've never been able to go and complete the program. Even though I completed a 2-year program, I completed the first year. Because I realized that I couldn't be so selfish and think of myself all the time when she was also paying for the rent in the house. She was also paying for the school fees for the children. I thought that if I thought that I'll put what I had learnt to use to get some small money and support the house. So that's what we did.
What's your wife's name?
Ellen.
Oh, Auntie Ellen, if you're listening to us, thank you so much for holding Osofo up during that time. And I can imagine that it wasn't just physically and financially, but also spiritually.
Sure,
yes.
Sure.
So you enter into Trinity, and what's that like?
Trinity was exciting. And until I got there, I thought I was a Christian. It was Trinity that taught me that, look, you were only thinking of yourself all the time. You had money. You could run around and everything. But Trinity taught me that my Christianity was only skin deep.
Wow.
It was only skin deep. So after I said I'll go to Trinity for 1 year. After the first year, I said, look, I'll continue. So I went for another 2-year program. Then I did a bachelor's program. So that took about 5 years. I was enjoying myself at Trinity so much that I said, okay, I'll do the master's. Then that's where the change, because by that time the first 2 children had gotten to university by themselves. And I just sat back and said, look, you couldn't be self-centered all the time. Here's somebody who has financed the children's school fees. No, I financed the fees for the JSS. But after that, this woman has stood by you. Why put her into so much trouble? Come on, use the few skills you have learned at Trinity, and then help in the home.
You know, Reverend, I find that in every season of life, if you're listening attentively enough, God will always give you something to hold on to.
Yeah.
And this morning in my message of motivation, I shared how I've been listening to the same song for the past 4 days. And my favorite line in the song is, if you are not done working, then God, I am not done waiting. And so during that time, with everything that was going on when you entered into Trinity and you were discovering another level of your faith, as it were, what was the word that you were holding on to?
The word I was holding on to is Romans 8:28. All things work together for good for those who are called by God and work according to His purpose. That was what kept me going. It kept me because I discovered also that God can be working with you and for you even whilst you are down.
Yeah.
In fact, God works better when you submit that I'm down. All my strength is gone.
His grace is
I no
sufficient.
longer have any more strength of my own. God take over. Then He will trade places with you.
And so that experience brought you to that point.
Yes.
Where it was no longer about you and your strength and your abilities, because
That's
you
right.
had lost everything. And it was really just about Him. Would you say that was the beginning of the turning?
In fact, that was the turning point. Several other things happened in between. When I started when I finished the bachelor's program at Trinity, one evening my wife came home and she couldn't walk. So we rushed to Kolebu the next morning, we rushed to Kolebu, and she got admitted. And then she asked me. It was December 23rd. I remember vividly, December 23rd. So when she was admitted, it was out of the blue. I didn't think she would be admitted. So she said, "You go home and pick a few things for me for the for the admission. But pass through my office and collect a few things she had bought for the Christmas." So I went. She worked on the high street. So I parked at Baden Powell, the car park there, and then walked to High Street to collect the things. Those were the days when people were being paid in black polythene bag. So I collected the Christmas things she had bought and was coming out to go and pick the car and go home. The oncoming cars from the left had stopped, the oncoming cars from the right had stopped. I was crossing, and then a motor rider knocked me down. So she was on admission in surgical ward, and the car knocked me down. So the motor rider knocked me down, thinking that I had collected money for the Christmas. So it just knocked me down, and my leg, I thought I was okay. I got up and I fell down again. So the drivers at the Baden Powell side, they came and picked me, and we went back to emergency. So that Christmas, she was in surgical, I was in emergency.
So both mommy and daddy were in the hospital.
The good thing was that then her mother had come for a visit. So her mother was staying with us. So I couldn't start the master's program because I was in POP. Mm. The Trinity said they will not allow me to start a program on clutches. So I missed that year of the Trinity. The following year, I reapplied and I was given that. So some of these things go through my mind. I said that if I hadn't been knocked down, I probably would have used the 2 years to finish the Trinity.
And yet, I'm sure at the back of your mind, you were still holding on to that Romans 8 verse, which said, all things work together for good. Yes.
Because I'd matured a bit more in my Christianity. And I was saying I've been able to say to myself that nothing happens by chance. It happens for a purpose.
Right.
The only thing you have to find peace and find out God's purpose, and then you'll be okay. You can weather that storm as well.
Mm. So this happens, you decide, I guess at that point that, okay, or the situation leads up to the point where you're not continuing to go and do your master's.
That's correct.
And then from there, because you call this season the turning point of all of this. So from there, what happened?
Because now money was not available, I decided to. Fortunately, at about that time, my church needed a pastor. So I was available. I had studied the BD and everything. So they could interview me and then put me in charge. So the church interviewed me and then gave me an appointment. I became associate pastor for a while.
So, as Christians, we believe, like you have said, that all things work together for good of those who love the Lord. And we believe that our steps are ordered, and so bad things may happen, and God is able to turn it around. There's a school of thoughts that I have encountered about pastors, about people who go into ministry. And some people have said that when life is not working, when we have failed perhaps at the world, then we turn to this option because it may appear seemingly as an easier option. You're doing something, you fail at it, or something happens, you go to, theology school, you become a pastor. It seems to be the easy way out of life. What would you say to people who are listening to us who may think that way?
I'll just caution them. You don't look for your own way out. You are looking for God's way out. If you accept that it's God who is guiding you, you are not just going to think that I'm looking for a way. The people who look for an easier way out, they fail in the ministry. They fail in the ministry because your foundation is not right. You look for an easy way out with the church finances. You look for an easier way with everything about the church. But God, if you allow God to handle your new vision and your new story of life, He will guide you correctly.
Right.
Don't look for an easy way out. There's no easy way, an easy way out of life. Life will always teach you the hard way. In my language, the Ghana language, I say, "Shiagwe onada."
You fall down to grow up.
If you don't fall,
Mm.
you will never grow.
Yeah.
Shiagwe onada.
Mm.
So if you don't keep a new perspective of life, you keep on falling. You keep on falling. You keep on falling, and you will never grow.
So now you were at that point an associate pastor. What was that life like, and had you forgiven yourself at this point? Had you moved on?
Oh, the forgiveness came very, very early. As soon as the letter of dismissal came, I knew I had to forgive myself. Otherwise, I'll get stuck in life. So I asked forgiveness from my wife, and she easily gave it. But I had to give myself that forgiveness too, so that I'll be able to make better decisions in life. So I had forgiven myself. I said, look, that's in the past. Let's move forward.
And it was as easy as that?
No. I had my own struggles.
Yeah.
I mean, for instance, we're living in an area where all the people knew me as a banker. So I had to make the decision that these are the people who must know. They must know that I'm no longer a banker. So I went to the nearest houses around our house and told them the story. Because if you keep on hiding from yourself, you keep on hiding from people, you keep on, you are not going to work, or this whole week I've seen you have not gone to work. And I said, I'm on leave. Then one morning I got up and I said, how long can you keep on telling people you are on leave? So I went and told them. I did some wrong things and I've been dismissed. As soon as I had my peace of mind that, hey, life is no longer going to be like this, I started feeling better. And then I could go on.
And then you could go on. I mean, I guess one would say you faced your fear in that moment and
yes.
being raw and saying, this is where I am in life.
That's correct.
And this is what it is.
That is correct. And incidentally, I found the second part of my life even more fulfilling than when I was in the bank.
Mm.
It's been absolutely fulfilling. I've done courses. I've done stuff that I probably wouldn't have thought of doing when I thought I had a safety net under me, which was my salary.
Yes. It's interesting when that safety net is taken away, then you really understand what it means to have an anchor that is immovable and unshakable, and who is your security. If you're just tuning in, this is Joy 99.7 FM. It's the Super Morning Show, and I'm having a conversation with Reverend Henry Pani August. He survived, and so can you. for this conversation. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Auntie Ellen. I don't know you, but I feel such an affinity with you. Just listening to the role that you played in your husband's life. And so he's here, he's listening. What would you like to say to him?
Henry, bravo. God has done it again.
Thank you so much. It's because of you as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, Auntie Ellen.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, Auntie Ellen. So just before you go, just briefly, what was life like in those times, those really difficult times, and what gave you the strength to hold on and be this pillar of support that your husband talks about?
I knew that God is a faithful God. He has promised He will never forsake us. He will never leave us. And His love is sure. And I also believe that we are called for a purpose. And whatever we go through, we shall make it.
Yes, whatever we go through, we shall make it. Thank you so much for joining us, Auntie Ellen. And thank you for everything that you've done for Reverend and the example that you are, to all of us about really sticking together, about believing and really what a good wife is, a woman who stands with the man that God has given her through difficult times and through good times. So thank you for that, and God bless you.
Okay, thank you too.
Thank you. Reverend, so we have another friend of yours who is who is on the line. Apparently he's your very, very, very good friend, Pa. So I'm gonna say hello to him. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. What's your name, please?
Dominic Julius Kuju.
I wish you could see Reverend's face. He looks absolutely amazed. But yes, we have Deacon Kujo on the line as well. And Deacon, what would you like to say to Reverend?
Reverend, good morning.
Good morning, DJ.
It's really I didn't have heard your full story. You kept it to yourself for over 20 years. and I thank God for your life.
Thank God for the church that even when I was down, you believed something, you saw something in me, and then you chose me to be an associate pastor.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining us, Deacon. So, Reverend, back to you. Life is better now, huh?
Yes. Not just life, but let me take it the other way around and say that God made us two, but He said you shall be one. At the beginning of each marriage, the power in the marriage is equal because God created us in His image. So the power is distributed. But if you read Ecclesiastes 9:4-12, it also tells us that sometimes the power in the relationship will shift. So at the time when the power is shifted, it says two being one, it becomes more meaningful. Because one person, if one falls, the other will hold up. So my wife held the fort when I was down. Now we are all on retirement. The power has shifted to the male side because now I'm holding the family or attempting to hold the family so that the marriage will make meaning to you. And then you will come to understand, you truly understand why God says the two should be one. you really know. From your own background, you say what they call the power wheel in any relationship. So it will keep on turning. It will keep on turning. One moment you are holding. When you are holding, you don't abuse the power.
Because it will shift.
It shifts.
Yes.
And another time, it will be the woman who is holding the power. Accept it. That's God's plan for each marriage. There are so many marriages that are going down. Shows that we still don't understand God's concepts within the marriage. One moment, the power will be yours. Or it will be with the husband. The next time, the power will be with the woman.
Yeah.
If you don't abuse it and you use power, and that power is not power like having a cane, it is power, delegated power. Because you will account for that, the use of that power to the one who gave you the power.
You will account for the use of that power to the one that gave you the power.
Absolutely.
Yes, that's Reverend Henry Pani, our guest. We're not done yet. We will continue this conversation. We're just going to take a few messages and then we'll come back. And I'll open the phone lines. It's 0302 216 541, 0302 216 541. Stay tuned. This is Joy 99.7 FM.
At Afrodan, we believe that many of the problems people have with their health is as a result of the way they sit. In other words, your chair can kill you. Here's Dr. Marcus Mann of the Chiropractic and Wellness Center.
What you have to remember is that the spine is the lifeline to your body, and posture is the window to that spine. Now, posture is affected by your daily activities and habits like sitting. That's why at the Chiropractic and Wellness Centers, we recommend what I believe to be the best chairs available for preventing not only subluxations, but also other health problems that you may not be aware of. And that's Rabami and Mobilex chairs. Unfortunately, on a daily basis, I have to correct the effects of this poor sitting habit in our businessmen and businesswomen. Always remember, optimal spine equals optimum health.
So, for the sake of your health, buy Rabami or Mobilex chairs from Afrodan. We're on the first floor of the Swansea Shopping Arcade. Telephone 663-085.
Daddy, I bet you enjoyed your trip abroad.
Oh, yes. It was worth every peso, and the experience was breathtaking. The beautiful environment, the culture, and the food. Oh, my. Until I got terribly sick.
Perhaps from eating too many new dishes.
But you know, thanks to my Glyco travel insurance policy, all my medical bills were paid for the 3 days that I was on admission.
Really? Glyco travel insurance policy?
Yes, my dear. Glyco travel insurance is the best. Look, it covers medical and emergency services, personal assistance services, emergency return home, personal liability such as legal defense fee, loss of baggage, personal accidents, trip cancellation, or even delayed departure. And even these are the ones I remember off my head.
Yes, Glyco Travel Insurance has a worldwide cover and widely accepted by embassies, both Shenzhen and non-Shenzhen. Visit any of our Glyco offices nationwide or call 020-422-113 or 055-5305-547 for ready assistance from our experienced support team. Be safe, travel protected, and have a peace of mind. Glyco, we cushion you for life.
With the Fidelity mobile banking app on your phone, you can enjoy accounts to wallet transfers, airtime and data top-ups, utility bill payments, instant interbank transfers, and more. Download and activate the Fidelity mobile banking app. The highest transacting customer each week wins an iPhone X.
Visit setyourselffree.promo to find out more. Use the Fidelity mobile banking app today and set yourself free.
Terms and conditions apply. Fidelity Bank. Believe with us.
Read the information on the gas cylinder to be informed of proper care. Always store gas cylinders upright on a stable platform with a valve on top. Keep cylinder installed at ground level. LPG cylinders should be handled with care. Do not roll or drag a gas cylinder on the floor. This can cause an explosion. Stored cylinders should be in a well-ventilated area and kept at a safe distance. Gas cylinders should be transported in an upright position and secured firmly. A message from the National Petroleum Authority.
Use it safely and Amplify petroleum gas. Use it safely and wisely. Super Morning Show.
You're still tuned in to Joy 99.7 FM, and we're talking survival and thriving and everything in between. But football season is here again, and Malcolm, your number one shopping destination, is here with the Goal Electronics Festival. Make this football season a memorable one. Discounts on all television sets at affordable prices in all Malcolm shops nationwide. Malcolm Goal Electronics Festival, largest range, best prices. Malcolm, where Ghana shops.
I used to be so broken, Lord.
Are you into farming, or do you dream of being a large-scale farmer? Do you wish to expand your cash crop, poultry, aquaculture, and agro-processing business? Do you have a comprehensive agri-business plan to contribute positively to the government's Planting for Food and Jobs program? Agricultural Development Bank is your most trusted bank with over 50 years experience in agri financing. You can count on us to offer the best financing solutions in making your dream a reality. Visit any of our 78 networked branches nationwide and talk to our well-trained agri finance officers for one-stop solution to make your dream a reality. Call our hotline on 0302 210 210 for further information. ADB, truly agri and more. Text messages here on the Super Morning Show are brought to you by Afrodan. Your back must last you a lifetime. Glyco Critical Illness Plan, GSIP. Glyco, we cushion you for life. The average person will sit about 75,000 hours in his working life, but as humans, we're not made to sit for extended periods of time. We're designed to be upright, walking, running, and on the move. Sitting and standing still for extended periods are detrimental to our health. How then do we protect our health since we have to sit down to work? The answer can be found with Afrodan. Afrodan is offering you today the most comfortable chair in the world, period. The Nightingale Extreme Comfort Chair. With over 10 thoughtfully engineered features, especially customized for your health and comfort, working has never had it this good. Go to Afrodan on the first floor of the Swansea Shopping Arcade and feel this chair. You'll be amazed. Alternatively, you can call Afrodan on 0302 663 085.
No, it doesn't really matter.
And I will be concluding my conversation with Reverend August in a few minutes. But Reverend, when we went on the break, you were telling me about the second half of your life, as you call it, and the fact that you made a decision that you would be useful regardless. What has that been like?
That was my goal. If I say I've achieved it, I'll be heaping praises on myself. But at best as I can imagine it, and with the limited knowledge I have about the future, I think I've tried to be useful to society, to myself, to my family. That has been my goal in this second half of my life. If God grants me more grace and I go into my third part of my life, I'll rely on God to tell me what to do with all those courses I've done, with all those things that I've done, and it's been simply fascinating. When you rely on God, God will surprise you in so many ways. What I tell myself now is that we live our lives forward, but we understand life backwards.
Yeah.
So I'm understanding some of the talents and gifts that God has given me, which were lying dormant. And until God pushed me to the wall, I probably would have stayed dormant.
And so it needed you being pushed to the wall.
Sometimes when you are down, then you realize the grace of God. When He's picking you up, then you stay sober. You say, have your way, Lord. The important thing is to be able to manage your emotions. This is not what I want, God. I want this one. I want this one. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Just say, God, have your way. I'm available. Just keep on saying, I'm available. So these days, my best song is Ron Kenoly's I Still Have Joy. I still have joy. Those things that we do because we are chasing happiness. I want to have the best car. I want to have this thing. It's a mirage. It's all a mirage. The moment you get it, you no longer want it.
You're looking for the next.
You
best
no longer
thing.
want it because that shoe you used to wear, which when you walk in church, you feel good about yourself. As soon as the heel starts wearing off, you want another shoe. So it's all a rat race.
Yes.
It's all a rat race.
Reverend, indulge me for 5 seconds and maybe let's do this together. I still have joy. I still have joy. After all I've been through, I still have joy. I still have joy. I still have joy. After all I've been through, I still have joy. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. That's the voice of the amazing Reverend Henry Pani August, who's laid his life bare for us so that we'll be inspired. We'll be right back.
God bless you.
Solar Tech, the power to protect. Yes, Solar Tech, your